So control is a major source of stress. Now, in this society, where a lot of the large decisions are made far away by people you don't even know, but they affect your life, like some corporate, Elon Musk decides to fire half the people that worked for Twitter, which he did his first day on the job. But what do those people feel? Some guy who doesn't even know them makes a decision about their lives? No, that's the system we got. But I'm saying that it's the nature of the system to impose a lot of loss of control on people. In Britain right now, I've been reading the papers, there's this debate about cutting off financial help for heating in the wintertime.
The winter fuel payments,
Those people have no control whatsoever.
Yep.
Somebody in Parliament, and Keith Starmer is urging his MPs to vote for this cut because we need to save those 20 million or whatever pounds. Now, we're not going to do that by taxing the rich. We're going to do it by taking it from the poorest. How do those people feel? Quite apart from the cold they're going to experience, how do they feel about the loss of control in their lives? And that's just one small example. And they're going to get triggered. They're not just going to be cold if they can't afford the heating. Even if they can afford it, they're going to be triggered by minimally by taking by depriving themselves somewhere else.
Yep.
But the loss of control, we're just pawns in somebody else's game. It's tremendous in this society.
And this is where our own, mental strength comes to the fore. And one of your most shared and repeated quotes is, we may not be responsible for the world that created our minds, but we can take responsibility for the mind which creates our world.
Yeah.
How do we go about doing that?
Well, that's the whole thing. That's the key. And the Buddha said 2,500 years ago, basically, I'm paraphrasing him, that it's with our minds and our thoughts that we create the world that we live in. So, if you live in a world where if you say no, you're going to get rejected, and you can't handle that, that's very different than if you lived in a world where it's okay for me to say no. You're creating the world with your mind. You're creating your relationships and your life with these mind programs that was developed very early in childhood. So now you're not responsible for that mindset. I'm not responsible for my sense of abandonment. That was my first experience, early experiences in life. But I can be responsible for the mind that holds those beliefs. And I can recognize that these beliefs were programmed into me. They're not serving me anymore. I don't have to hold on to them. So that's what I mean there. It's very simple. It just means, no, it's not simple at all. Conceptually, it's simple.
Yeah.
But it means that we don't have to be programmed and limited and predetermined by beliefs and mind states that we developed when we were kids and we had no choice in the matter. We don't have to be. But that is the first big step, is just to recognize it. Because until you recognize it, you actually think it's reality. And you think it's the only way reality can function. Once you realize that this is just a mindset, now you can do all kinds of things. But the first thing is to keep recognizing every time that mindset shows up in your life. So in my relationship with my wife, if I find her not as interested in me as I might want her to be, I can either indulge in self-pity and see myself as a victim and being abandoned, or I can notice, I got the same stuff happening again. That's curious, what's going on? So I can get curious about it. Turns out it's got nothing to do with her rejecting me, it's just got to do with, she's got something else on her mind, So just by noticing these habitual reactions, we developed the capacity to see ourselves a little bit from the outside and not be dominated by these old mind states. That's the beginning of it.
But to believe that we can change those mind states, we need hope, right?
It's more than hope. Almost anybody that I meet, almost anybody, if I question them, they'll be able to give me some example of where they used to believe something and that belief caused them grief. Then they saw through that belief and now they don't have that. I mean, almost, can you guys think of examples in your life of that? Can you not?
Yeah.
Where you have certain beliefs.
But I also know people who will listen to this and think, well, I'm so broken, I can't be helped.
Yeah. And I would say to them, I understand. And that belief itself is a belief. That belief itself is a mindset. And it refers to a time in your life when you were truly helpless, and you're truly alone and truly vulnerable. Is that really true? Is it true that you can't ask for help? Is it true that there's nobody out there who can possibly understand you? Is that actually true? In other words, I would take that belief itself that they're hopeless. And by the way, nobody's broken. There's nobody broken. We talked about this conversation began with this idea of wholeness. We're all born whole.
Before we continue, take a moment to notice what's coming up for you. Sometimes when we hear truths like this, the mind wants to rush ahead, to analyze, to fix, to understand everything at once. But healing doesn't happen through force. It happens through awareness. If something in this conversation feels familiar or uncomfortable, that doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It means a part of you is recognizing itself. Many of the beliefs we carry were formed when we were small, when we didn't have power, choice, or language for what we felt. Those beliefs weren't flaws, they were adaptations. So as you listen, try not to judge what you notice. Just stay curious. Curiosity creates space, and space is where change begins. When you're ready, let's continue.
And that wholeness is health. That can be refound in everybody. So nobody's damaged goods, nobody's broken. As long as they have consciousness, there's plenty of stuff to work with. That's not my assumption. That's what I know.
We've reached the point where we're going to offer you some quick fire questions.
Sure.
This first one might be a hard one to answer quick fire, but having listened to this really interesting chat, what's the first thing that you would like people to do if they're interested in changing their mindset? Where do we begin?
What's the first thing I want to start questioning themselves? Don't take it for granted. Don't take your belief for granted.
What's the greatest piece of advice you've ever received and why?
You know, when I was a family physician, I had this urge to write. And I used to have a patient, a great Canadian poet called Warren Tallman. And Warren would come in and I'd look after his medical needs and they would sit down and talk. And at one point I said to Warren, I want to write. I was in my 40s or maybe early 50s. And I was really frustrated, and there was something in me that had a sense that I hadn't fully expressed myself. I haven't reached my potential yet. And I said to him, Warren, I want to write, but I don't know what. And he said, Gabor, you will write when you have something to teach the world. And that's the best thing anybody ever said to me, because that's actually what happened. So the advice was really trust yourself.
You've written so many popular books. You've been on the world's biggest podcasts. You've worked with some of the most famous people on the planet.
Yeah.
What are we still failing to understand about ourselves that is holding so many people back?
That we're born whole, and that wholeness can be regained. That's been the theme of our conversation today, but that's the biggest one.
Great.
What advice would you give to a young Gabor just starting out on that journey from Hungary to Canada?
What advice would I give to myself? First of all, respect yourself, but never take yourself too seriously. And you don't have to do it all. And look more inside than to the outside. Because I used to look just to the outside all the time. And looking at myself was long and difficult process. So I'd say, I also say, just don't take it so seriously. Like, just lighten up.
What's your biggest strength? What's your greatest weakness?
How can you look at me and ask if I have any weaknesses? Come on.
I thought it was a silly question.
My biggest strength is my capacity to see connections between things in a way that a lot of people can't. That really is a strength, and to be able to communicate that. My biggest weakness, I'm still concerned about who I'll be when I won't be able to do all the things I can do now. Like, who will I be then? When I'm not out there on the podcasts and on the book circuit and talking and so on. Then who will I be? So my biggest weakness or biggest concern you might be is just still, who am I when I'm not all that? I can talk about it, but if I examine myself honestly, it's a concern of mine.
And the truth is, one day you'll have to find out.
Eventually I'll find out.
If you could go back to one moment of your life, what would it be and why?
It'd be, I'm not going to talk about this in detail, but there's certain decisions I made in my personal life that I would not make again. That I would make totally different choices. Choices that created a lot of suffering for people that I really love. That's what I'd like to go back to.
And without going into detail, obviously, from those, how have you learned to live with them?
By doing what repair I could, but also by forgiving myself, by recognizing that that's who I was, that's how I was programmed. I did what I did out of what I believed at that time. So there's no point berating myself. The thing is to own it and take responsibility without allowing that to diminish my respect for myself.
And the final question that you want to leave ringing in the ears of our audience, your one golden rule, if you like, to living a high-performance life.
Trust yourself. Trust yourself. Really trust yourself. Not your ideas, but your true self. Just trust that it's there. Let it guide you. Because high performance is obviously different for everybody. And for me, it's, have I done the best I can with what I understand and what I know and what my calling is? Maybe that's too many words. Follow your calling. That's what I would say to people.
Gabor, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you, guys.